Hello, good morning friends. How are you doing today? So, I'm back with another video that will talk about ransomware. This is one of the hot topic in industry these days, and I've got a couple of queries from different friends and groups that if we have any kind of a consolidated checklist that can be used to, to prepare documents, to update the management, to share the thoughts while you're working in the industry, while you're doing any kind of an assessment on your cybersecurity. So let's start. Yep. So ransomware is kind of a malicious software. Okay. So this software is mostly uh, the purpose is to block the access in terms of wherein they always try to make availability as one of the issue. On top of that, they also want that your data that it's encrypted, and this ransomware usually works with an asymmetric key, wherein there's a key which is used to encrypt the data. Then the attacker will actually force you to pay for the key which is used for the decryption. Okay, so the entire attack is like, again, as I said, is to block the access. It wants victim to pay for some kind of a ransom. Could be a Bitcoin, could be financial, could be other things as well. Okay. So while you're working on any kind of a ransomware checklist, the key aspect you have to understand is whether your security operations center, the SOC analyst, or the SOC team is well versed. Do they understand how to deal with a cybersecurity incident, and also specifically with a ransomware? Okay, so first thing first, I think is one of the common aspect what we start with is isolate the infected system. As and when immediately you find that there is a system which is affected, the best way is to first stop it from spreading across the organization or to the peer systems. Okay, so with that you should have an alert management system. That means you are notified on when in time, and this not only alert management to yourself only, because it goes up in the hierarchy, it goes in the lateral and vertical movement. So you have to understand who are your stakeholders, and are you informing the management on time, the IT team is informed about it. Maybe you have to at some point in time get into your legal or HR team as well. In order to do that, you need to have sufficient information. So gathering information is one of the important thing. So your first information gathering starts with what information you have about the attack. Kind of, you have any ransomware note, you have any samples, the affected systems, how many of them are attacked. Do you see any message, any phone number, any email address, the kind of request they're asking for? Is it monetary? Is it something on a reputational risk and all that? Okay. The first thing is at par, you should be engaging your incident response team. So far, you can deem it as a security incident. You can also say that it's an incident response. So engage your incident management response team, which will lead the investigation, also will help you with the recovery at later point in time. Definitely, then you have to do an assessment. Assessment is part of defining the scope. What has been the impact, whether it impacts all the CIA trials, availability, integrity, confidentiality. How deep is the impact? What kind of data is being, encrypted, whether it's a sensitive, non-sensitive, or something which is kind of very valuable for your environment or for your business. Then the first thing, as we said, is to isolate the infected system, is trying to contain, is performing the containment, in which you're trying to identify the variant and apply appropriate measures to contain the attack, possibly disabling the compromised accounts or network segments. The next stage could be that you have to also validate, do you have sufficient data backup? Do you perform a data backup checks? Do you perform integrity of your data backups? Make sure they are not compromised. It's possible that even your backups are compromised. You don't have a clean backup data for your recovery. So that's very key aspect. Communication is the key. Communication plan you should have in place already. That means when the issue happened, who all need to be involved, how they have to be communicated, whether it's your employee, your customers, your partner, your legal team, regulatory requirements. You have to have a plan. So most probably this one is also linked with your incident response. So usually incident management response have a communication plan as well. Once you have done the containment, that means you have isolated, you have a sample which you can use to conduct your analysis, to understand the behavior of the ransomware, what kind of decryption methods they are using, what are the algorithms they are using, and how you can protect these vulnerabilities moving forward. So this comes as part of the malware analysis. On top of that, in case it's required, most of the cases it's something you have to engage law enforcement. So these days you have cyber cells where you can, engage them, and this information can be disseminated across the different industries, various sources. You can narrow down if there is any group who's working on it, or if there is anyone else who is impacted with this, and maybe they have a decryption key which can be, supportive, and then you can work in the community to get it sorted. Okay. Then along with that, definitely you have to recover. That's very important. While you are talking about the recovery methods, you need to, it all depends on the nature of the attack, whether it's even possible to decrypt the file, or either you have to rebuild the system from the scratch. But again, it points back to data backup checks, how much or what kind of data we are referring to, whether it's recoverable, hope that data is clean, it doesn't contain any kind of, malware itself. So you don't get into the same situation again. There is one more thing which is recently added is a negotiation consideration. While it said is no ransom, don't no need to pay for ransom. But there could be some specific cases. Um, I'm not work on this, or I'm really not into that part. But this is one of the thing I identified is evaluating the risk and benefit if we have to negotiate with the attacker to get the decryption keys. Okay, and also to make a complex decision like you have to involve it's a legal and definitely the ethical consideration. You can't just go and you know uh, get something done without any uh, consideration within the organization. This one because it impacts the overall uh, company about it. Okay, few key things which I think is more of a sanitization, or I would say the best or we should have it for the cyber hygiene is the user education. Make sure your user is aware that how to prevent these attacks in future, how to work with it. Patch and update your systems very frequently, as and when the patches are released. Update them on time, patch them on time. So those things. Monitor and analyze, definitely. Continual monitoring, signs of malware. That means there was an account which was used, and this account was earlier got failed, and then it got successful after a few attempts. On top of that, you can also validate if there is something um, which you can create some use cases in your uh, SIM tools. Okay. Two more bigger aspects I think which you have to understand is forensics. Though not every company has a forensics analysis team, there should be a provision that means in case you have to engage some forensics, you should be knowing that how and when and what we can do to get them involved, how soon they can step in, and then they can support you. The key aspect, there are two key aspects I would say is post-incident review and risk mitigation. So after the attack, what are the lessons learned? What we understood from it, what we have learned, what is the gain? So it's always said that there are two organizations, ones which are breached and ones which are yet to be breached. So it's moreover it's like how do you assess, and also it's good to share the details in the community. It should be learning from the community as well that how they have handled the situations. Okay. The most important thing I would say is a regular risk assessment. Uh, Mitigation or remediation is the key aspect. Okay, wherein what you're talking about, you have administrative controls, you have technical controls like EDR, EPP. You also have any kind of a network intrusion prevention systems, and on top of that, user is your key. User training is the must. Okay, and yeah, so I think this is a very consolidated list I found able to capture. I definitely found it online. It's not something I have created, but again, I have this prepared, or it's just to share with the community. Okay. On top of that, I think one key thing to understand is I was reading this article and found this thing very nicely written. Is like remember that each attack is unique. Okay, the steps you take may vary, may include all or maybe some of them, but by and large, most of the things are involved and included, which will be somewhere within these 18 points. So I I leave you with a thought. Yeah, if you like the video, just go through it again, and maybe if you want to capture something from this, I think it's free. Yeah, it's feel free to do that. Okay. So I think hope it's valuable, useful to you guys, and Thanks again. I will find another video topic and then we'll connect back again. Thanks for your time. Okay, cheers. Bye bye. Thanks again for taking time. If you like the video, please share, subscribe to my channel, and appreciate. Thanks again.